Well, none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots, yeah. None of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots. I'm telling you now, the truth, the truth. Telling you, yeah, the truth, the truth. You have to go back to the roots, the roots. Go to the roots, to the roots. Yeah, man, you know, this is Benjamin out of the Smiling Coast, West Africa, Gambia, representing for the one and only Abu, the big man you don't know, the Soninke warrior, the man that brings the truth, Soninke warrior, the sign of enlightenment, the Soninke warrior, the righteous and the true African. Abu, reveal the truth to them, you know, no matter how them try run from it, because none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Yes, we have to dig back the roots, yeah. Fire!
Subscribe now.
I remember the days, all those years ago that never fade away. And I remember your face when you hit the ground. I can recall the time and place on the midnight walk through the old streets, trying to turn back the clock to the days of old, back to the days when all the things we knew were made of gold. As the world moves on, time sings a song. In the old neighborhood, as the clock strikes one, the memory lives just as it stood, like a quiet dream.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Afidamus Report. If you haven't already hit the like button, please go ahead and do that. So today I'm going to be breaking down a Jubilee video. You know, one radical woke leftist named Amanda Seal is going to be, you know, quote unquote, debate, 20 conservatives. And what I like about this is because over here on this channel, generally, we would do shows on people who are like the pro-blacks. She's one of those as well. But, there was a time, if you look at it, last year, the year before last, let's say throughout Biden's time, when the wokeness was at his highest, they were not allowing this type of debates to happen. They suppressed the group I'm about to show you. Even so, people like her, thought they were, they are right. It's like they are so loud, so she became confident. She thought she was correct. So now we're going to watch her come with her woke ideology. I'll let it play. Is black conservatives versus this woke lady. So the black conservatives, like when you hear this, are the true black Americans who believe in self-reliance, who don't believe in handouts and victimhood. Long story short, those are the ones this FBAs, call Uncle Tom. So I think it's very important to bring the debate, and I would just interject, every now and again to give commentary, but we're going to watch it together. All right. So this is fair use, and I'm just going to break it down. Let's begin here. So this is Jubilee, where you would come, and debate people. So Amanda Seals here, she is a very well-known woke star. She cries victimhood. That's what she promotes. So now it is victimhood-minded person versus non-victimhood. So this is a controlled environment. There's no yelling. People are going to allow each other to speak. So they're going to talk about reparation, black on black crime, um, equality, the usual gripe that the victim Olympic participants push forward. So it's refreshing to see their representative come and face, other black people, because you know how like these people, their blackness is even questioned, but somehow they would represent themselves as the ones that are speaking for every black individual. So, she is narcissistic. She's got like this entitlement. She surrounds herself, with false reality. So this is why, if you notice, when you start having conversation with people like her, um, they would say things, but when you're talking, you start bringing reality, they would shout, they would lose it, because they don't want to hear the truth, because they know they built their castle on sand. So, if your castle is built on sand and it's coming in contact with water, obviously you're going to be worried because your castle is going to crumble. So Donald Trump winning has been a blessing. Now I notice they've opened America to freedom of speech. Now the wokesters are about to face, truth. This is what truth is. We debate, allow people to give their point of view. So without further ado, here we go.
Black culture is toxic. And let's get on the fact that there's no fathers
So
in
white
the black
culture
home.
is
Let's
stop.
talk about that.
You're
do we vote
talking
for?
to a radical, not a Democrat. The radical mind state simply is living opposite to our colonizers, which is an imperialist, capitalist mind state, and radical blacks do not believe that that is any way for us to have liberation. Well, here's
So
what
when
you
you-
all keep
no,
doing.
no,
You
just
keep
give me-
interrupting me when
Well,
I'm talking, and you don't want to hear the
but
point
the
that I'm
point
going to
you're-
make.
the point that
And
you're
yet you want
raising-
me to respect your point. And that's not how a debate works. If I show you respect, give me the respect back. Ooh, I knew I was going to be surrounded by ignorance, but damn, let's go. Greetings. I am Amanda Seals, widely known as a comedian, an actress, a disruptor, an annoying person on the internet who always tells the truth. And I am now an artistic intellectual who commits myself to making art that educates. And today, I am surrounded by 20 Black conservatives. My first claim is it is undeniable that reparations are just and necessary.
All right, reparations, fair, necessary. My question would be, who's going to get it? Why would they get it? And how long are we going to sit here focusing on trying to get reparations? It's been how many years since slavery? 150 years, 1865? Whenever there's a
So with this debate, the fun thing is, as it's happening, they do fact checks. It's not like, for example, how like the Tariq Nasheeds and the others, they just say whatever. Like they would say things like, oh, it is Africans, blocking our reparation or delineation. That's not based in reality. So over here, things, is getting fact checked. So you can see Congress ratified the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery in December 1865. So we would get the real dates. Like, for example, here, like I would say, they can just come and start screaming and denying it. They would even say they are native to this land. But we're going to base it in reality. She thinks they deserve reparation. Let's hear this debate.
real thing that this country wants to do, they do it. Stop Asian hate. Okay, there's a problem with the Asian hate. Let's draft a bill, sign it, and it's done. Anything needs to be done is done. With us, it's a carrot they dangle in front of us that they don't really want to do. And it's not going to help. We need education. Oh, it's not going to help. No, it's not. We need education. Getting a check from the government is not going to do that. And we need proper education. A lot of us go to these institutions where we're not really prepared, we're not really focused, and we don't get things that help us in the real world. So if you want to help Black people, a check from the government, from our tax dollars is going to get raised, because let's be clear, everybody in here is Black. We all American. We got to pay taxes. It'll go to that. So I don't really see how this is going to help us at all.
Okay. Well, first I'll start with it.
So you can deny truth, but you can tell by her, the way she's sitting, she knows what this guy is saying makes sense. So let's hear what she got to say, because they are used to, someone like her is used to being in bubbles, like an echo chamber, where they just lie to each other and they don't allow any, counter arguments. So let's see what her counter argument will be here.
Will help on even just a moral level. The reality is that the United States has become very comfortable with the fact that it does not consider Black people equal. And it shows that in many ways that I'm sure we will discuss over the course of today. But ultimately, there has not been a committed, concerted effort to shifting the mindset around the use of Black people as a labor force in this nation back when it was slavery, now in the use of slavery as slave labor in prisons. So on a basic cultural level, reparations are an act of repair. They are an effort to say, our bad, we see you now. We have seen that done with Japanese folks.
So let's see. So according to the Oxford Dictionary, I don't know if you guys have seen it, reparation means the making of amends for a wrong one has done by paying money to or otherwise helping those who have been wronged. So with this definition, there is reparation, there is no reparation, because reparation is made to, those who were wrong was done to. Present day Blacks, no wrong was done to them, and none of the people that did wrong are not, they are not alive today. So this is the fact check. So let's continue. They always bring the Japanese, but those were people who were interned, and it was paid to those who, the actual people this happened to, not their children or great grandchildren. They paid the actual victims. It's like somebody hitting your car, and then eventually you sued and get paid. That's what it is. But you can't wait and then 500 years later and think you can sue complete strangers. It doesn't work like that.
An effort to say, our bad, we see you now. We have seen that done with Japanese folks who were put in internment camps. We have seen that done with Jewish folks. We have seen that done even in the case of slave owners who received reparations.
So it's fact checked here. Let me read the fact checks as we go. Sorry.
Consistent efforts that have been made to impede Black people. At a basic cultural level, reparations are an act of repair. They are an effort to say, our bad, we see you now. We have seen that done with Japanese folks who were put in internment camps. We have seen that done with Jewish folks. We have seen that done even in the case. So
they talk about, the Holocaust, right? The German government has paid Holocaust survivors more than 90 billion over the last 80 years. So it's the German government that is paying the actual people that were affected by this, the victims of Nazi Germany. Okay, so the people were alive, those were the people they committed the crime to, and those were the people they paid, just like the Japanese. So this is what the fact check is. So I hope people are listening.
Of slave owners who received reparations. When it comes to the use of tax dollars to pay reparations, and this is going to come up a lot today, it's a matter of values, right? For me, my value system circulates around the fact that I think that as a community, we should all be engaged in repair for our community. So I don't think there should be any problem with there being tax dollars spent at repairing consistent efforts that have been made to impede Black people. So the reparations you're talking about are not just related to slavery. There's reparations that have been discussed all over this nation in different communities as it relates to particular massacres, as it relates to redlining and the impediment of Black people to earn.
So she's clearly a radical, as you can see. So since they have not, with her reparation talk, she knows, it's not strong. So now she's going to do like the, spaghetti noodle game, like whereby you throw everything, on the wall to see what's going to stick. So now, she's in a completely different territory. So white people can ask for reparation then, because over 300,000 whites, died during the Civil War to free blacks from slavery. So if she's talking about, who got hurt, so those people also their families should receive reparation. But I'm sure she would say that doesn't make sense. Which, yeah, they probably would be like, no, we're not going to pay that. But to her, she wants to say all these massacres happened, but she can't name them. Who did it happen to? But let's go.
Wealth by having property. There's been impediments in various ways that can be repaired. And I want to also just add, there's reparations that are considered a cash payment from a government. There's also the version of reparations that shows up in how funds are applicated to specific groups of people. So there's multiple ways in which what you're stating cannot happen could very well happen.
Okay, now as far as the money going towards certain things is going to help us, let's look at Baltimore public schools. They get, I think, the third most money per pupil in the US of A, like $15,000 per student, but yet the majority.
Yeah, they fact checked it, right? Baltimore spends $18,272 per student, each student, the 13th highest of the nation's 100 largest districts. Despite the spending, only 16% of 8th graders read at or above national standards, and only 13% of 4th graders. So they are spending a ton of money on these students in Baltimore, which is a majority black area. So money obviously is not the problem. And as you can see the numbers, most of them can barely read. So the money is not the problem, it's about real education. But let's continue.
The population that comes from that environment can't read, they're illiterate. So we're dumping money on the situation, yes, but yet we're not getting the results we should get from it. Money's not going to help the thing. We need to just focus on what we need to focus on. As far as black people being labor force of this country, what else are we doing? We got 25% of us on some kind of government assistance. 1 out of every 3 black men will go to jail. We got to do.
So fact check, as of 2022, black people made up 12% of the population, but accounted for 26% of the jail population. So you notice sometimes the number is inflated. So blacks only make up 12% of the US population. So here we go.
Something. We got to work with our hands, work with tools, do something, because we're not doing much of anything. And also, one more piece here. Reparations, again, always anchored in front of us, never going to happen. As long as you've been living, as long as I've been living, as long as everybody been living, they say we need it, and it never gets done. One more piece.
You just said one more piece, then you added another one.
I promise.
So hold on to it. No, hold on to it.
I'm gonna land the plane. I'm gonna land the plane. I promise. Reparations is a thing. Like I said, it's a carrot that's dangling in front of us. They're never really going to get it done. And if it was going to get done, it would have already been done. It's just something that they're using to try and make us stay Democrat. That's what I wanted to say.
Well, Democrats are not doing reparations either. This is nonpartisan.
She thinks she can play the people. She's a Democrat, right? She's a Kamala supporter. Any BLM supporter. They are Democrats, right? But she thinks by calling herself radical, which they are the radical ones, to try to, misrepresent herself. I've noticed these wokesters are beginning to run away from their true label. Okay, so she doesn't have anything to say. The guy, ABL over here, is hitting her with facts. So let's see what comeback she's gonna come up with. Hopefully not a personal attack.
This is black partisan, baby. Okay,
well,
this is not partisan.
Who do we vote for? Who do we vote for? 90% of the time. There's no incentive.
To be quite honest, you're not talking to a Democrat. You're talking to a radical.
Okay, but let's
land this plane very quickly.
Who do we vote for?
Let's land this plane quickly.
You're
talking to a radical, not a Democrat.
Okay,
and
do you guys see how condescending she is? So she thinks, like I said, she exists in a bubble. So she thought she was intelligent, and I even heard her say she's a comedian. I've never heard her tell any funny jokes, but apparently she's a comedian. So she is a beneficiary. She's a beneficiary of these programs, because if they have DEI, all this woke stuff, people like her are the beneficiaries of this false world that they've created. They are scared for this world to crumble because it's not based in reality. So let's continue.
Are your own person.
Let me
but who
tell
do
you
we
something
vote
now.
for?
I don't know what they told you, but if they told you that cutting me off is how we're going to get clicks, stop it now.
Oh,
'Cause
no.
That's not how we're going to. That's not how we're going to
We're having a debate.
So there you go. So if they can't win, they start trying to belittle you or downplay you, as if the guy's looking for clicks. The guy is stating facts. Like ABL, he has his own show on YouTube, his own channel, where he gets millions of views. So what is she talking about? But here we go.
Debate does not require continuously cutting somebody off.
Okay, no problem.
Now, I do want to state this. You're stating things as it relates to how money is not fixing a problem without...
Paul, exactly. Paul, you see the type of game she's playing? There is not a party called the Radical Party. So unless if the Democrats have changed their names to that, but you're correct. But she's playing games.
Acknowledging the fact that the problem doesn't exist in a vacuum and that there are so many other factors that are determining how that money is getting spent to impede it from actually fixing a problem. You can put all the money into Baltimore public schools you want, but if you are also putting all this money into policing, into communities that are not getting resources, then you are also creating your own conundrum.
That doesn't make sense. So reparation, they always talk about money. Even herself talks, that's what they were talking about. So now ABL comes and destroys that position. So now she's trying to say, okay, even if you're putting money there, giving money to the police to make sure there's law and order, that diminishes that. If the community is not, that these police are going to do not have criminals, why would they worry? But you see, people like her, they need the dysfunction to happen. This is why she's bringing talking points. She believes in defunding the police, from reparation to police. So let's hear more.
Part of this is that when you're saying they, the they is a broad context. And the last part of this that I will say is that you keep saying they're dangling this in our face. They're dangling in our face. Slavery lasted for 400 years. It hasn't even been 400 years since slavery. So should we be only fighting for a quarter of the time to get...
Did you guys hear this? Did you guys hear what she just said? So she says slavery ended 400 years. So she's saying 400 years is not that long ago. These people do not exist in reality. They've created their own, fake world. And when they come face to face with people in the real world with common sense, their whole narrative falls apart. I mean, for crying out loud, how can you make sense of what she's saying? Even herself knows that this makes no sense, but let's keep pushing.
Pair?
All right, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
You've been voted out by the majority.
All right.
Please return to your seat.
Okay.
My name is Matt Nuclear.
Hello,
I
Matt.
appreciate
Matt
sharing.
Nuclear?
Matt Nuclear, yes.
Matt Nuclear.
So watch this. This is about to get good. Yeah, Paul, it's weird, Paul. Paul, doesn't she sound like she just got freed from a plantation? That's how she sounds like. But as we go, we would find out she did not originate from the plantation. Trust me. But here we go.
Give it a handshake on that. Let's do it.
I
All right.
appreciate having this conversation with a beautiful black woman like yourself. This is nice, beautiful arena here. I disagree that reparations are necessary. I think the most important thing that's necessary right now for the black community would be the stopping of violence, especially black on black violence. I don't see how reparations is going to solve anything. You can give everyone here like a $50,000 check, especially people that are in the streets who are committing violent crimes consistently. A $50,000 check, it's not going to fix anything. It's not going to increase the median household income in the next 10 years by 10% or 20%. For example, we have the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. We prevented Chinese people from getting citizenship and even entering the country. We discriminated against them.
Yeah, so you know how these wokesters love running around acting like they are the only people that were disadvantaged. Okay, the US Congress, this is fact check. Congress passed the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882, banning Chinese laborers from entering the US. Mind you, they passed a law against the Chinese. They passed a law barring them from entering this country. They discriminated against them. Why do you think they have their Chinatowns and stuff? That's where they used to hide. Okay, at the time, the Chinese workers came to America to send money back to their families, and they were willing to work for lower wages than Americans. So they were banning them. So here we go.
And basically put them under apartheid, even here in the United States. Yet they have the highest median household income. How is that possible? How come they don't complain and feel entitled consistently to beg for reparations and beg for this when they are killing each other 90% of the time, which is the rate that black people kill each other, according to the FBI?
Oh, young Matt.
Yet white people are the oppressors.
I'm not sure where your education came from.
According to the Department of Justice, the homicide victimization rate for black persons is 21.3 per 100,000 persons, was more than 6 times the rate for white persons, 3.2 per 100,000. So think about this. White people are the majority. They always like to compare themselves to white people for whatever reason. But we're seeing black on black crime out of control, right? But if you compare them to white people, there is way more white people in this country. And you know, they are deleting each other 6 times more than white people. So here we go.
But they lied to you.
Stats don't lie, though.
Statistics lie all the time. So let's start there, particularly when the statistics are coming from the sources that gain from the statistics being shown a different way. So
I hope Amanda doesn't use any statistics, because these reparations they talk about, they like to throw statistics. But, you know, if statistics doesn't favor them, it's a lie. But let's go.
If you're going to start your argument on stats don't lie, you've already lost the argument. They lie all the time. One, comparing Chinese people who are immigrants that made a choice to come to the United States and comparing the continued effort of black people to ground themselves in a nation that continues to make impediments for them to show and live and exist in their true citizenship is a false equivalency.
That's stupid. Okay, the point the guy is making, it doesn't matter whether you were forced to come here or not. The point the guy is making is, yes, the Chinese, they came on their own. This is true, but they had no power. They even passed laws against them, openly discriminating against them. That's the point. You know, they went through the same thing, even worse than what the blacks were going through in 1882. In 1882, because blacks could stay and work. So because they like to say, oh, you came on your own. So if the person come on their own and laws are passed against them and yet they still thrived, it would mean, you know, like these people are resilient. So if you're resilient, it don't matter, you know, like what is put in front of you, you would overcome it. But she's using a stupid argument, you know, like most of these FBAs like to use. So this lady, I don't even think she believes in anything. She would just say whatever she thinks would make her look good. So here we go.
I don't believe that happens at all. What? No one here is in.
Are you acting right now? Do you really believe
I'm telling
this?
the truth. There's no systemic racism that I've experienced here in America. What system is racist? I think the only racism we've actually seen recently, systemic racism that we've seen, is the application of systemic racism against white people. The University of Western Washington, for example, has been trying to segregate dormitories.
This is how you know she can take the truth. See, this is why when you form your bubble, hiding, when you step out of that bubble, trust me, your handlers cannot protect you from the truth. The truth is going to find you. Do you guys see the expression on her face? She is shocked. So, and this is a young guy. I think he's like 18 over here destroying her with facts. So here, let's hear more.
Using black-only dormitories because black people feel safer amongst each other, but they're more likely to kill each other than white people are ever to kill them. That's just the truth.
This is true. We've all been seeing all these years when blacks started, these radicals going around, oh, we want our own separate dorms, we want our own separate graduations. And It's like these so-called that call themselves black queens, right? They are the ones advocating for these things. So the things they are, accusing white people of, they are the ones that are actually doing this. They say we want to be around each other, but they are more likely to kill each other. The young man is correct. But let's see what Miss Seal gonna say here.
King Von rapping about killing other black men. Why should I think that the white man is the oppressor when black men are more likely to kill me?
Oh my
Tell me.
God, this is scary. You need to think about me as your mama. Do not talk to me in that fashion. So let's.
Do you guys see how stupid that sounds? She wants she wants him to see her as the dude's mama. Do you guys see how condescending and rude that is? If I were the one sitting across her, this young man should have been like, you should look at me as your daddy, since you want to be so rude and obnoxious. This is what happens when you catch them in their bullshit. Now she's trying to, exert authority over him. But you see, everyone is laughing at her. I'm telling you, this is why you have to seek the truth. But you're at the right place, at the Afridamus channel. Please make sure you hit the like if you haven't already done so. Here we go.
check that now.
Okay.
Okay. So on a basic level, we have to understand that systemic racism is grounded in the realities that Black people have not been considered an equal human being in this country since its onset. So there's simply no way to make the argument that there isn't systemic racism. And we have seen in very clear ways the system operate in an organically racist way. Do not cut me off. When we talk about systemic racism, we can start with even the fact that redlining, which was implemented to discriminate Black communities. Are you shaking your head that redlining doesn't exist?
No, I'm saying I don't.
Okay. Redlining is the practice of denying mortgages to those who lived in neighborhoods considered risky. Lenders targeted Black and immigrant communities in urban areas. The practice was outlawed in 1968. Oh, how shocking. So have you guys noticed this redlining that you always hear? Guess what? It didn't only affect Blacks. It affected immigrants as well. And this was outlawed in 1968, a long time ago, right? But if you notice, it's risky neighborhoods. I mean, if you're a bank, why would you loan money to somebody who's moving to a risky neighborhood? Why? So this is why, guys, I'm bringing you this debate, so you see it, that there's a reason why they don't want you to hear from the Blacks who have common sense. They only bring you the ghetto ratchet one, the victim-minded ones. So this is why they don't want to face the real Black Americans who are not into the ratchetness. So if you notice, they promote ghetto culture. So people like her, benefit from that. The dysfunction. Do you think she lives in these areas where all these shootings, robberies, and killings are happening? She lives nowhere close to this. She lives amongst white people while talking all this. So it's all a game. She's been destroyed with facts. So let's continue to hear more of this.
I think it really exists at all. I mean, no, I don't think so at all.
So it does exist. And stating that it doesn't exist doesn't make it no longer exist. Redlining absolutely exists. It is not something that's being made up. It's an empirical fact. And there are realities that exist because of redlining. We know that school systems are related to the way that property taxes are affecting the school systems. If a school system is not getting the same.
So another fact check. Property taxes provide more than 1/3 of funding to public schools nationwide. Therefore, school districts with lower home values have less local funding. There you go. That answered it. So if property taxes, is what's funding the schools, the taxes from it, this is nationwide. So areas, communities, people that live in lower, in communities that have lower home values, they get less funding. So why? So I'm sure they're going to say, They just making us our homes less valued. I mean, not true. So the blacks have to fix that themselves. So they literally have the power in their hands. They can add value to wherever there's a bunch of blacks, make the community valuable so that they can have enough money to fund the schools in these black areas. But they're not going to do that. They want white people to give them the money. That's what she's advocating for. So here we go.
Property value as the property taxes allow it, then it's not going to have the same efficacy at allowing for students to be able to get what they deserve. When we talk about systemic racism, we have to acknowledge that these private prisons are literally built based on the test scores of school students in 3rd grade. So if you are literally building prisons with the onset of, okay, if these people are not...
So another fact check. While there is direct correlation between literacy and education levels and incarceration rates, the claim that prison planners use that data to decide where to build has been debunked. Facts, 100% facts. Guys, I've told you guys here many times, those of you that are familiar with me on this channel, you know that I was a former corrections officer. If there is anyone that knows about what she's talking about, would be me. And all the prisons I have walked at, none of them are even closer to a black area. None of them. Literally none of them in the state where I worked. But guess who still fill those prisons? Exactly, you guessed. So it's like this, you're all the way in the inner cities. I mean, you're seeing, there's like gang activity, drive-bys, robbery, stealing, anything degenerate, is happening in these predominantly black areas. So who do you blame for these kids growing up and ending up in prison? You got to hold their parents accountable. What are they teaching them? What makes these people think it's smart to outsource the rearing of your child to outsiders? Prisons are just there for, hey, prisons are here for if you don't raise your children well, they're not going to remain as kids. Remember this. They are going to grow up. And when they grow up, they are going to be out there with the general public. So things that are normal in your household might not be normal outside. Things that are normal in your neighborhood might not be normal outside. So if you do those things, you can go to prison. Like, it's not okay to like shoot people. We're seeing people live streaming in Chicago getting deleted on camera. I mean, this has become like a thing that literally blacks are doing. It's not like any stats. They are recording themselves and putting it in the World Wide Web. I mean, right now, I can just search. I can search on YouTube. It would take me 2 seconds. I can pull up several videos of different blacks in these neighborhoods, literally pulling the trigger on somebody on live camera. So she's delusional. She's delusional. But let's
reaching a certain reading level, then we know that they're going to go down a prison industrial pipeline, or we can use their free labor. Then how is that not systemic? And if you want to
stop them from entering prisons,
how are you going to stop people from entering prisons if your goal is to get them into prison?
Sure, make them try to be more like Ben Carson than be like King Von. That's very, very simple.
So how does King Von happen? How does King Von happen?
King Von,
reparations. Actually, no, let me land the plane. Yeah. We're talking about reparations, and what you're doing is actually just trying to get this conversation off the facts. And the fact is, reparations are just and necessary because on a basic level, black people built this country and the country continues to thrive off of the labor that black people put in.
So So, what about the white? So white people didn't build the country. So in many words, she's saying white people built this country. So because we are here to, so since we can keep up, we need free handouts. That's what she's arguing for. She's literally ignoring, you know, the King Von statement. This is blacks promoting, deleting one another. But she's like, how did he happen? You tell us, lady. We just told you. In his neighborhood where King Von came from, they don't have, he didn't grow up around white people. That much we know. So where did he learn his behavior from? Who did he learn it from? That's what we should be asking. But let's go.
To this country, and it would behoove you, young man, to really understand the way that your ancestors put blood, sweat, and tears into this nation that is still living off of those blood, sweat, and tears. And let me also add, there are reparations and then there is remunerations. Do you know the difference?
Yes, but can I finish one
No,
point that I wanted
answer
to
the
say?
question.
Ben Carson's cousins were killed at a very young.
I'm so sorry. You've been voted out by the majority.
Okay.
Please return to your seat.
By the way, Ben Carson is a surgeon who is well known for separating the Siamese twins at the head, the skull. So that's a brilliant man. And by the way, Ben Carson came from I believe his father died when he was young. He was raised by his mother in a housing project, and he still pulled himself by the bootstrap. So there is no better role model than somebody like that, someone that overcame regardless of, you know, the difficulties. But why is someone like her refusing to acknowledge that? It means they need blacks to remain in the victimhood state, because that's the only way they can get power, people like her. Because if it's based on merit, she will not exist. But here we go.
I hope some of y'all are acting. I really do. I really, we in LA, and I hope some people in here are acting. Oh, what's that on your chain?
This is a coin from Israel.
Lord have mercy.
Yes, you got to go.
That's the choice that you are making for yourself.
Yes.
So already projecting her hate. I'm telling you, this lady's filled with hate. So she's going to try to be passionate. But let's see how this debate goes between her and this man. This is a real black American. So when people say, oh, Afridamos, you always say all the blacks. I keep saying not all, but most. So now I'm showing you that it's not all. They don't want you to hear what these other black people got to say. I mean, imagine who is promoting people like Tariq Nasheed. Why do they want people like Tariq to be out there pushing victimhood? Apart from just being for his pocket, who is behind it? Who wants the blacks to remain blind? That's what we should be asking. So here we go.
The thing with the whole reparations thing, and I don't know, we're probably close to the same age, so maybe you can't call me.
How old are you?
I'm 32.
I'm 44.
Oh, really? Oh, you look young.
Thank you. That's what water and keeping stress out of your life will do.
What's with the attitude, shaking it? Oh, I'm 44. Ma'am, we know you're not happy being 44, but all right, let's go.
Really? Liberal positions are real stressful.
By the way, I wouldn't know. I'm not a liberal. Carry on.
Well, most of it's the liberal position, because conservatives believe in hard work. We believe in going to work and working for what you got, not asking for handouts from people who never had slaves. Some of the people that you're asking to take for money from never had slaves. Okay. And let's talk about the fact there were also black people that had slaves. So if you want to talk about,
so you notice that. So if you listen to the race hustlers, you know, all blacks are victims. Blacks would never own slaves. You know, some of them even denied that, you know, on the other side of the Atlantic, even the Africans did not sell slaves, you know, except when they want to use it to shame Africans, thinking, oh, you guys sold us. But here it goes. Even here in the United States, when slavery was legal, there were approximately 3,700 free black people who owned 12,000 slaves. I know what they would come and say. Oh, they were They bought their family members to save them, but they were still slaves. You own them, you can sell them if you want to. So that's the fact. Blacks did own slaves. So here we go.
How is that fair? If I'm a white person and my family fall on the side of the Union, why should I have to pay for slaves when this whole country was never all racist? Some of the founding fathers were abolitionists, and they hated slavery, and they actually put things in the Declaration of Independence and things too, because they believed that there would be a future where there would be a black president one day, or that there would be people in leadership that were black. There was people in the North who helped with the Underground Railroad and fought with the Union. So why is that fair for people who never had slaves, who fought against slavery, to have to pay for people that had slaves?
One, from my understanding, you are more interested in preserving the fairness of those who didn't have slaves than the fairness of those who are the descendants of slaves.
Boom. There you go. So you understand their logic. Did you hear what she just said here? Do you guys see how these people think? So she is saying, okay, the man is saying, how is it fair for people who never owned slaves? Their families never owned slaves. In fact, they came here after slavery was abolished, but simply because they believe that it's white people who should pay them. How is it fair for these people to pay you reparation? You know, they never owned slaves. You've never been a slave. So she responds by saying, oh, so you're more concerned about the people who never owned slaves for them to pay? Like, yes. Why do you want to make people pay you who don't owe you anything? So she's like, oh yeah, making these people pay, that's what would be fair. So these people are racist. They are doing this based in race. They are trying to rob white people. That's just the truth. Blackmailing white people, trying to use white guilt on them to give them what they want. And you think if there were reparation, do you think it's the regular black masses who are going to get it? No. It's people like her who would benefit the most if they put programs just like she's benefiting today. That's what would happen. So this is why she's like pretty much saying, you know, I don't care if these people never owned slaves. We'll make them pay us anyways. We'll make them pay us anyways. Why do you care about what is fair? So she's not making any logic here. She's not saying anything that makes sense, you know, as far as the laws of fairness go. So here we go.
That is priority to you than finding a fair way to accommodate those who have been the descendant of slaves.
Well, our ancestors wasn't asking for handouts. They were asking for equal opportunity. And we have equal opportunity in this country. We had a black president, just in case you didn't know. We had a black president and we had a black vice president. I mean, I think she was black. They said she was black. I don't know.
This is true. The guy is hitting her with facts. The people who were actually enslaved, mind you, the people who came from that slavery straight from the plantation were not asking for handout. They wanted to be treated equally, fair laws. That's what they asked for. Now you got it. You got black president and you got an Indian woman that you passed off as black, but regardless, the laws are fair. So these people, for example, you have Kamala who had to pretend to be black, even though there's rumors that her family, she came from a slave owning family. So it's like these people cannot reach these positions unless, you know, they use the same plight that their own ancestors, direct ancestors, who even owned human beings as slaves, they will be the ones that would end up benefiting from it. They are just using the black masses to try and guilt, shame white people, you know, to make it seem like it's all white people that own slaves, when it's less than 2% of whites who owned slaves. And not all the states had slavery. Some of these states were not even a state back then. They didn't even have black people there. So that's why when black people run around, they claim we built America. Which America? I mean, we look at Mississippi where slavery was rife, South Carolina, Georgia, those areas. I mean, Georgia's got stuff, but not from slavery. How come those regions are the poorest? How come? But let's go.
So we had a black president, and you know who voted for that black man? White people, because you can't win a popular election in this country without white people. So Barack Obama is the product of white people. So let's get off this thing where, oh, America is so racist. What's making America so racist is people that continue to talk about racism and continue to focus on racism instead of focusing on unity and bringing our country forward. People that have these liberal mindset are infecting our communities, black people, and making us victims and not victors. I refuse to embrace a victim mentality because that's not what our grandparents and Harriet Tubman and those people fought for. They fought for equal
not bring
opportunity.
up Harriet Tubman's name in vain, baby. Please.
Let's say the Lord's name in vain. Lord's name.
Harriet Tubman was literally saving her family and others from slavery.
Yeah.
So they fact checked her again. So this woman, is delusional. So she's putting Harriet Tubman, in the same level as God, saying don't say her name in vain. I mean, do not say God's name is in vain. So she's completely lost. So let's see the fact check here. They want us to believe that Harriet Tubman was this one single black woman, just freeing slaves, running all through the Underground Railroad. Let's read the facts. Harriet Tubman directly rescued more than 60 people and provided assistance to dozens of others. During her journeys to freedom, Harriet Tubman received help from free and enslaved African Americans and whites, including the Quakers. The Quakers fought for the freedom of blacks. And people act like around by the time of the Civil War, there weren't large population of freed blacks. They call them the freedmen. They lived mostly in the East Coast. There were free blacks. If you read, Up from Slavery by Frederick Douglass, you can clearly see when he escaped slavery, from the Chesapeake Bay area. He went to New York, Philadelphia. That's how he escaped. Once because he mingled among the free blacks, the freedmen. So this idea that, Harriet Tubman just came from the picking cotton and now freeing people by herself is in fact not true. Here we go.
You know who helped her? White people.
You know who helped her?
They were on the Underground Railroad.
No. You know who helped her?
Come on in.
No, you know who helped her?
God and
people who benefit from white supremacy. One of the things
it's a lie. White supremacy is a lie.
No, sir, that's simply not true. If that were not the case, then we wouldn't see the continued effort of colonialism and white people placing themselves in positions of power when they do not have the power.
Because their culture, black culture, is toxic. The black culture is toxic. We have produced a culture that is toxic. And let's get on the fact that there's no fathers in the black home. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
None of this is gonna work if y'all are just gonna sit here and make up shit. It's not gonna work.
So boom, she is about to pull the woke thing. The moment you hit them with facts, it's like they malfunction. They have a narrative they want to stick within that they fed themselves. So they have shielded themselves from the truth for so long to where when you hit them with the truth, they crumble. It's like a machine malfunctioning. She didn't expect her software to be uploaded with these facts. So she's now about to break down. Stop. It's misinformation. I cannot take this. Here we go.
No, it has to be in facts.
You're putting off emotional liberalism.
I am not putting off emotional liberalism. You're putting off unfounded lies based in conservatism.
Remember they get the misinformation thing all summer where everything conservative did. They said misinformation.
You're carrying a chain around your neck of an apartheid nation that actively wants to harm black people and non-Jewish people. But let me bring it back. Let me bring it back.
Selling black people in Africa.
That was not happening in the context that you're saying.
And they were selling their own people. Black people still sell their own people today too.
I don't know if I'm gonna last.
We're selling our own people.
I don't know if I'm gonna gonna
You
last.
probably won't last with me.
I won't, because your ignorance is so
See, y'all,
overwhelming.
that's liberals. Y'all start name calling when y'all
No,
get
it's
defeated
not
in an
name
argument.
calling. You won't have an argument because you keep cutting me off.
Oh, well, that's fine. If they don't let me come
You
back,
won't even.
I made my
You won't.
point.
You didn't make your
I made
point.
my point.
You haven't
And
made
I'm
your
okay
point.
with being
And let me
voted
just
out.
tell you about your point. You started off saying we believe in hard work.
Yeah.
And we believe in being compensated.
Reparations is not, though. Reparations is not hard work. It's stealing. It's Robin Hood.
You said you believe in hard work.
Yes.
And you believe in being compensated for hard work.
Oh, can you guys, is my stream still on? Oh, sorry guys. I got hit with a copyright. Can you guys